And this week, right, we're coming together with a special intention, and that's to celebrate my beloved evolutionary partner, whole mate, Barbara Marx Hubbard. Can you believe that it's been 2 years, right? Oh my God, right? Madly miss you, Barbara, right? Madly miss you, right? And just to feel that, and just to kind of start today after our Dharma recapitulation by just saying, miss you, right? Barbara, we miss you, right? We miss you, right? Barbara and I had the insane privilege for the last 5 years of her life to communicate several times a day in this very deep communion of pioneering souls, where we came together as evolutionary partners, as whole mates, to take the next step, right? To go as close as we could to going the whole way in this lifetime. And so the first question I want to ask everyone who's gathered today, and we gather every single week, and Barbara and I had the insanely beautiful privilege to found together this church, this synagogue, this mosque, this secular humanist center, this Church of Evolutionary Love, right? One mountain, many paths. And we started it in October of 2016 at a hard moment. And we made this counterintuitive move as we were actually in pain because there were things happening, as they often do in life, that cause pain and heartbreak. We said we want to turn that heartbreak, right, that breakdown, right, into a breakthrough, into the heart opening. You know, there's a beautiful text that Barbara and I often study together, which comes from the classical text of the Testament of the Old, and it's V'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha. These words shall be placed on your heart. And so the masters asked, why are the sacred words on your heart? And so my teacher would answer, Mordechai Leiner of Izbaka, because it's only when your heart breaks that your heart opens and the words can drop in. And so at this moment of heartbreak in 2016, we came together. We had a late night talk and we started this one mountain, many paths. And we've gone almost 250 weeks, never missing a week. Barbara never missed a week. And this is the place, this is the hub of the revolution. This is the place that we are every week, poised between utopia and dystopia, in this time between worlds and this time between stories, with this radical commitment to tell the new story and to take the new story the next step. And I want to talk today about what the next step is, because actually in the last 5 years of Barbara's life working together, we redefined conscious evolution significantly beyond and in many deep ways in contradiction to much of what Barbara wrote in the book Conscious Evolution. That was the first stage, but we actually went beyond that in a very significant, important, and critical way, right, to actually take us in this 11th hour to where we need to go in responding to existential risk and catastrophic risk. So I want to talk about the next step of conscious evolution, what conscious evolution really means to honor Barbara, and about what actually the last 5 years were about and what we're doing now. First, I want to just take a look for 1 second, just to feel at the very beginning, Barbara in the space. And I feel you now, Barbara. And we talked so many times, Barbara, about the continuity of consciousness. And that's what you and I passionately understood to be a reality. It's not over when it's over. Miss you madly, Barbara. And here's the chant that we would sing often in Holy of Holies, Barbara and I together. And it goes like this, and maybe someone will put it in the chat box and we can just feel Barbara, and we can sing this to you, Barbara, and sing this to each other, and sing this to evolution itself. And it was written by David, father of Solomon. And it speaks of loving through the night. And here the night means death and beyond death. And I want to just feel, and I want to chant it for you. And maybe we can put the words, if anyone has them, perhaps Shahat, you might have them, to put them in the chat box. But if not, that's totally fine. And it goes like this. I'll do first the original lineage language that Barbara and I loved so much, right? And then the translation. Barbara, beloved, this is for you. And see if you can just close your eyes and feel Barbara with us and feel her energy. Barbara, 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 Barbara. It was doing one of these weekly gatherings that Barbara was in the hospital. She was supposed to be there for 3-4 days. We spoke the night before. We went over what we were going to do, in the morning at church at One Mountain, Many Paths. And about 3 hours before, she had an incident, and I called the hospital right before church, and they told me she was having a hard time. We were completely surprised. And Barbara got on the phone, and I said, I got to talk to her. And she couldn't hold the phone. They held the phone right to her mouth. And she just said in the most alive, radiant way, she said, "Mark." I said, "Barbara." It was the last word she spoke. Right? I was on the phone with the hospital in between sections, right, of our broadcast. And I was at Sally Kempton's then. Right? Christina was in New York, and I rushed to the airport and flew right to Denver, right, thinking that she'd be awake when I got there, and was in the hospital for 2-3 days, right, in her room. And next door, her family gathered. She never opened her eyes again. But she is so, Barbara, you are so wildly alive. I can't believe that you're gone, and I know that you're not, and we all know that you're not. So this is our chant, written by David, and it's about the realization that the love moves through the night, that death is not the end of the story. And you cannot be an evolutionary, and we cannot tell the new story unless we know that death is not the end of the story. That's really important to realize. We're talking about the next step of conscious evolution, which is the universal love story. The universal love story tells us that death is not the end of the story. We've talked about in great detail what that means and how we experience that directly. But now we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to feel it and know it and sing it. Barbara. Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat tov lehodot l'Adonai. And it's in the chat box. O Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat tov lehodot l'Adonai. O Mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat. Welcome, Barbara. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Leagid baboker chazdecha ve'emunatcha baleilot. To speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night. To speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night. To speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night, Barbara. To speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night. To speak of your love in the morning, and to trust you through the night. And let's feel this together. I want to just try and find, Barbara, your greatness for a moment, because that's how we eulogize. We actually find your greatness. And I want to mention and speak to and address just for a moment or two a dimension of your greatness that was hidden. Barbara was unrelenting, exuberant, wildly enthusiastic, filled with the newness of possibility. And Barbara loved to echo the sentiment of Solomon in Ecclesiastes. And it's really the essence of evolutionary thought when she would say, I don't get older, I get newer. I'm not getting older, I'm getting newer. Because actually, she literally renewed herself every day. But that's really important to understand. Friends, One Mountain, Many Paths is the hub of our revolution, where our revolutionary act is to articulate and tell the new story, and to actually articulate the evolutionary love codes, and to be like Da Vinci, right? We're in Florence, right? This is Florence today. This is the new Renaissance. We're telling the new story because we understand that existential risk and catastrophic risk, the second shock of existence, right? The first shock of existence is the death of the individual human being. And the second shock of existence, the potential death of humanity. That the core, the generator function for that existential risk is a global intimacy disorder, which expresses itself as a pseudo-eros story, the success story governed by win-lose metrics that generates an extraction model and an exponential growth curve which self-terminates, and fractional reserve banking and all the various forms of existential risk. And that the only way we can respond to that risk is in this time between worlds, in this 11th hour, is to actually tell a new story, and a new story of Homo amor, a new story of the new human and the new humanity, rooted in the deepest integration of the sciences, pre-modern, modern, and postmodern, into a new whole greater than the sum of the parts. And at the center of that new story is the universe a love story, is eros, right? Is desire. So I want to show you just for a second a picture of Wheel 2.0. And maybe David, and this Barbara and I drew this on a napkin, literally on a napkin, right? Unbelievable, like 6 weeks before she passed, right? In Portland, Oregon. So David, I want to see if you can put that up for us, if you can find it, right? Wheel 2.0. And Barbara's going to talk about this today. And maybe you can make that bigger, even bigger. Chance for even bigger? Is there a chance? Do we have a chance on that? There we go. Okay. So take a look at it. Okay. So if you look at the inner heart of the wheel, the very heart of the wheel, there's a gold circle. And Barbara and I literally drew this wheel. Barbara developed what's called wheel, we now call Wheel 1.0, the wheel of co-creation, which is about social synergy and connecting what's working worldwide. And if you look at the outermost rim of the wheel, you see the different sectors of society, justice, education, media, technology, etc. How do we take the leading innovations, said Barbara, in each of these sectors of the wheel and connect them? Social synergy. And as Barbara and I met, we translated the word synergy into intimacy, right? The intimate universe. How do we create intimacy between these different parts and create a larger whole? And we began to talk about the next step of conscious evolution, the universe, a love story, the emergence of what we call together Homo amor, the fulfillment of Homo sapien and Homo amor. And we're going to talk about Homo amor today, and Barbara's going to talk about this new human. But at the very center, okay, stay close, friends. Take a look at the center of the wheel where it says Homo amor. There's a gold dot. And if you notice the center of the gold dot, there's a little line that goes down. It says true self-being. And true self-being means consciousness, right? The consciousness that resides at the very center of reality in which we participate. But then, and this is what I wanted to share, if you'll see, and this is here, what we're looking at here is not Wheel 1.0 that Barbara did. It's Wheel 2.0, which was our joining of genius, our merging of memes that we did the last 5 years. That's our absolute commitment to share, because this is the next turning of the wheel. This is the next stage of conscious evolution. This is the new story. So if you notice, right at the very center, right, the first round circle beyond the gold dot in the center where it says Homo amor, it says desire, and it says heart's desire. And the reason we place desire at the center of the wheel, right, based on an enormous amount of work that I've done over the last 30 years and Barbara's, right, deep feeling into this, and we felt into it together, is because at the center of reality is not just consciousness. At the center of reality is eros, is love desire. And we are each of us unique incarnations of the desire of cosmos. And desire reaches for future. Desire holds a memory of the possible future. We're animated by desire. And our own deepest heart's desire is the desire of evolution itself. And each of us holds uniquely, and we can let go of the wheel. We can take it off. That's Wheel 2.0. And we'll be putting out an entire little booklet, right, on the wheel. It's also going to appear in other places in the work. But this is the Wheel of Co-Creation 2.0. At the center is desire. And it's the realization that my deepest heart's desire, my clarified heart's desire, is not my pathology. It's not my confusion. My deepest heart's desire comes from the one heart, comes from the one breath, comes from the one love. Right? To be a unique self is to uniquely incarnate the very desire of evolution that lives uniquely in me, as me, and through me, to awaken to the reality of that desire and to take my unique risk to fulfill that deepest heart's desire for the sake of the whole. And of course, it's very rare that your clarified deepest heart's desire is for something which is egocentric, for something which is petty, for something which is narcissistic, right? For a shiny red car. I mean, we like shiny red cars, but my deepest heart's desire is to give my deepest unique gift for the sake of the whole. And we join each other, not as soulmates, but as wholemates, right? For the sake of the whole, coming from our own wholeness, evolutionary beloveds, outrageous lovers, coming together in unique self-symphony for the sake of the whole. And Barbara, every single day, and I witnessed it every day, would go into the depression and go into the hardness and go into the loneliness and find herself anew every single day. She stood for transformation. She embodied transformation. It wasn't her default mode. Her default mode was hard in the last few years. Many of her friends had died. She felt alone. She felt misunderstood often. She felt like she hadn't done it or gotten there or achieved it. And every day we communicate, and every day she'd go inside and she'd find it again. I remember in 3-4 weeks before Barbara passed, Barbara was with me and my beloved Christina and Shahati, and we were in Portland, Oregon. And every day we would sit all day in the library. That's when we recorded the 11th hour. And if you have that, someone put it in the chat box. But at the end of every day, at about 4 or 5 o'clock, after we were working all day, Barbara would then go to the store and she'd buy 2 big bottles of wine. And she'd say, the ladies are going to drink and laugh. And Christina, Dr. Kincaid, and Shahati and Barbara would go and they would sit in the living room and they would start to, right, Plato's symposium where the wine flowed, and they would drink and they would laugh and they would tell stories of evolution. And Barbara, you would literally see her renew herself, not getting older every day, but getting newer. Barbara, take us into our deepest heart's desire.
Thank you, Mark. I take the word from you and bring it into the word of God's desire for each of us. It is an awesome thought that my deepest heart's desire is the universe's deepest heart's desire through me, as me, and uniquely as me. Because it was always God is here desiring something, and I have my own personal desire. But if we understand that our heart's desire is coming straight from the nature of God itself through us, there's an enormous empowerment to desire that comes here. And then I always say in my own heart's desire, what is it that I'm really desiring? And in the broadest sense, I find I'm desiring exactly what the 13.7 billion years of evolution desires. It desires greater consciousness. So let's say whatever our unique desire is, we all desire that inner impulse of consciousness itself. The second great desire of universal creativity is freedom. Freedom for everyone to be more fully and uniquely who we are. And as we are beginning this in the evolutionary church, which is new in history, this is new. We are taking God's desire for freedom for the individual into our own ability to be free. through the consciousness of the impulse of creation. This is an enormous understanding of freedom. And then the third part of God's desire through us is for greater complexity or connectivity or love. Ever more complex system with ever greater connectivity of separate particles, making a new whole far greater than the sum of our parts. So let's put all of that in there. And then I've been thinking about the Church of Evolutionary Love. We've really named the Evolutionary Church the Church of Evolutionary Love. What do we mean by evolutionary love? Mark has called it outrageous love, and a synonym for outrageous love is evolutionary love. And that the only response to outrageous pain is evolutionary love in every one of us, which is outrageous love. And that the Church of Evolutionary Love, perhaps for the first time ever, is for the fulfillment of the unique configuration of intimacy and desire within its mission and within its members. So when we enter the evolutionary church with our unique intimacy of desire, seeing it as evolutionary love along the pathway of the core of the spiral itself, at the very hub of the wheel of co-creation, desiring through us this. So when evolutionary love is shared within a collective configuration where everyone's unique love goes through the true self, through the unique self, into the evolutionary unique self, empowered by the intimacy of God, desiring through you, through me. And when I connect my unique desire to God's desire, then I have to ask myself, what is my truly heart's desire if I go the whole way with it in this lifetime? So let's each of us ask right now within ourselves, what is my deepest heart's desire, which is God desiring through me, going the whole way in this lifetime, joining with all others doing the same in a unique self-symphony of the birth of the new humanity in the new world. That's my deepest heart's desire, to go the whole way in this lifetime. And why should we be going the whole way in this lifetime? Because this is the lifetime when God has to go through the whole way to create the next stage of life on earth. Because if we don't go the whole way collectively in this lifetime, in this next 20, 50 years, whatever that may be, the world itself cannot go the whole way. So we are the evolutionary church of going the whole way in this lifetime, being a beacon of light for people everywhere on earth who are yearning to go the whole way. And we're inviting them to be participants in the evolutionary Church of Love, to fulfill the highest destiny of each of us collectively and individually for an awakening of a planet where all of our great new capacities are connected through us in a glorious celebration of the uniqueness of human creativity through God. And with this, I ask for your gift of divine desire to be fulfilled through the growth of the Church of Evolutionary Love. Your gift of divine desire planted into the Church of Evolutionary Love, providing the church with the resources and outreach and capacities to invite the entire world into the divine desire in time to go the whole way in this lifetime. This is a truly great request for resources, finances, contributions. You see your contribution makes a difference. Click on that contribution there on our chat box, and you will see that you are contributing to the evolutionary love of humanity. Thank you, God. And I pass my word to you, Mark.
Barbara, thank you, love. Thank you. I miss you so much. I miss you so much, love. Right? Thank you. Barbara Marx Hubbard lived her deepest heart's desire. It wasn't easy. It was filled with agony and ecstasy. And we lived together through much outrageous pain. And Barbara, every day, you responded with outrageous love. You responded by awakening as evolutionary unique self. You responded, and we responded together, holding hands, right? Becoming not Homo sapien, but Homo amor, the cosmo-erotic universe in person. And Barbara, I want to personally, and all of us, commit to you. We're not going home. We're going to be here. We're going to be here every week. We're going to tell the new story, and we're going to resource the new story, and we're going to expand and deepen and share this good word. And we're not going to be embarrassed. We're not going to be shamed by our enthusiasm. We're not going to be shamed by the evolutionary impulse alive in us. We're going to act with total kindness, with total integrity, but always with evolutionary love.